Hello, beautiful tribe. I've been receiving a lot of messages just these last 2 days from people who are either contemplating suicide or who have lost a loved one or dealing with the loss of a pet. And my rule on Facebook or on all these social platforms is that if you ask me a question openly, like in the Joy Tribe, and you tag me in the post, then I will always take my time to respond in the best way that I can at that moment. If you ask me a question behind the scenes, so you send me a personal message, an email or whatever, then I will refer you to the resources that I have on joymartina.com where you can book a session with me because it's my time, right? And I was asked in a post to give some advice and help on how do you deal with grief? How do you deal with sadness? And I love the question so much that I thought, why don't I make a post that explains my approach to grief and emotions and how to best deal with them so that we can all benefit from that. And that's the huge benefit of asking an open question. So thank you for that. So grief, the first thing we want to do is we want to acknowledge the emotion that is there. I feel so often we're actually spending so much energy running away from feeling those unpleasant emotions. Those emotions like anger and grief and frustration. But here's the thing, as beautiful human beings that we are, we have an entire kaleidoscope of emotions to tap into, and especially if we're female, and especially if we're empaths. So if you are someone who is very emotional, has a wide bandwidth of emotions, then be grateful for that, because the more we allow ourselves to feel in one way, the more we can choose also to feel in another way. So very often people who are able to experience great grief and hold space for grief and all those unpleasant emotions are also people who are able to hold that much space for all that joy and love and gratitude and bliss in life. So don't chastise yourself for feeling those emotions. Rather, acknowledge them, take a breath, and just notice what is there, and notice the cocktail of emotions that is usually there, especially when we're dealing with loss. There will be some grief, but there will also maybe be some anger and frustration. Anger, why did this have to happen now, and why me, and why couldn't so-and-so have done something different, right? All that. And that is normal. So those different stages of grief, going from shock and denial to feeling anger, to going into a state of depression, to acceptance, right? That's normal. So allow yourself to be where you are right now and just notice what is there. And then honor those emotions, and then make a choice. Make a choice to honor the emotions and the loved one or the loved thing that you're grieving by also making space for them in your life. It's not that you have to cut them out. They're just maybe not there for you anymore in 3D, right here to touch. But they're still there in the quantum field, and I want to show you, after I've shown you a really powerful process, how to really transmutate that grief within you into a more positive emotion like joy. I want to give you the tip to also honor people that you have lost, or spaces, or whatever it is, by, talking about them, honoring their name, making space in your life for them. That could be a picture that you put up. Doing a ritual of honoring is very, very powerful when we're grieving. That's why things like funerals and all religions offer some way of saying goodbye. And that's something that you want to do after you have given yourself the time to really sit with those emotions and then make the choice to transmutate them. Now, you might notice that I'm not saying transform them, because here's the difference between transformation and transmutation. Both are beautiful things, but I looked it up. Transformation is actually the alteration of genetic composition through gene transfer. that actually goes along the lines of what we used to think, is that we are actually just our genes, right? So whatever we've been given at birth that's what we have to deal with. But a lot of new science is showing, especially Dr. Bruce Lipton's science, is showing that the genes actually just play a much smaller role in that whole game than we think. So when we talk about transmutation, we're talking about the process that completely changes the organism through the influence of a mutation. So yes, your genes can change and you can change. So having that power to change our state is really important when we're interested in living a long, healthy and joyful life. So let's transmutate that feeling of grief and sadness and depression or whatever it's going on into that state of joy, because there is also joy in grief. Just think of all those beautiful times that you spent together, that gift of having had such deep feelings for someone, to have felt so much love and appreciation for someone, something. That is beautiful to have had that. So, and you can still stay connected in 5D, that energy is still there, but it's just maybe not there in the form that you're used to, right? So when we're transmutating energy from grief, a low frequency level, into joy, for instance, which is a very high frequency level, then we will go through that state of acceptance and gratitude, because that's what it takes to be able to get up to joy. But here's the thing, when we go from grief on the way to acceptance and appreciation, we pass through anger. That's why grief and anger, I call them sisters. They go together. So it's very powerful to transmutate those two energies together rather than just doing a grief process or just doing an anger process. Connect them, okay? So here's a very simple way how to do that. First of all, you want to be a very wise and conscientious researcher. So you want to start out with measuring the level of grief that you're feeling right now. Go ahead and measure. Take a scale from 0 to 10, right? 0, no grief at all. 10 is, oh my goodness, deepest despair. Where are you right now? What number would you give the level of grief that you're feeling right now? Go ahead, give it a number. Some of you might say it's a 3.9. Others will say, oh, I don't know, it's kind of big. Just give it a number. Okay, so that's your starting point. Now we're going to transmutate that. Ready? Okay, so take a nice deep breath. Exhale with a sigh. Good. And now start doing the switch. That's this karate chop, right? Where you pound the fist of one hand into the fist of the other hand. And now I challenge you, speak after me. Say, I love and accept myself exactly where I am right now and with all the emotions that I feel. And breathe. Good job. And now say, and I love and accept myself as I now choose to transmutate all these emotions into joy and love and gratitude. And breathe again. Well done. Okay, take one more breath. Now, take your two hands and start tapping the area underneath your rib cage. You're now tapping your liver and the area around your spleen. Now, your liver is processing the anger and the spleen is processing that self-doubt and that lack of confidence and all that lack of self-worth maybe that's going on. So go ahead and tap these beautiful organs, say thank you to them, and then say, I love and accept myself with all my grief and my anger and my doubts at my deepest level. And from the very first time that I felt this way. And I choose now to release all anger, all grief, all sadness, all lack of self-worth and step into my power of joy and confidence and forgiveness and peace. And then breathe again. Good job, good job, good job, good job. Okay, good. Now, last step, take your thumbs, okay? Take your thumbs and strike them against each other as if you're making fire with wood. So strike, strike, strike. You're now tapping the end point of your lung meridian. Now, your lung is really engaged when we're processing grief. There's a lot of breathing you want to do. Deep breaths are good to process emotions, so keep breathing. And now say, I love and accept myself with all and any grief, any regrets that I feel at my deepest level, and from the first time that I felt this way. Breathe and then say, I now choose to release this grief and to step into my joy. I deserve to be happy. Yes, you do. I deserve to feel joyful, and breathe. Well done, well done. And okay, now stop tapping, relax. Maybe place your hands on your heart and imagine diving into this ocean of love. Warm, beautiful water, maybe with a high salt content. And then just imagine for a moment that you could drift in this ocean of love and you could feel deep gratitude for yourself, for this beautiful body that you have, for this opportunity to live a life filled with joy and gratitude and peace, knowing that you are the creator, the creatrix of your life, and you deserve to feel joy. So allow yourself to imagine that every single molecule of this beautiful water that you're floating in, this ocean of love, imagine that it is talking to every one of your cells, informing your cells of this new programming that you are allowing yourself to receive effortlessly, joyfully, knowing that you are love and you are eternal and you are infinite. So maybe you repeat inside of your mind, I am love. I am eternal. And I am infinite. That's right. And then take one more deep breath in and out. Come back into the here and now and take that love with you wherever you go today and share that love simply by being that love, being in that yummy space of gratitude, seeing all the love around you. May that love walk in front of you, beside you, behind you, under you, so that you are surrounded by this bubble of light. And thank you so much for spending this time with me. If this was helpful to you, go ahead and share it with someone who could do with a bit of uplifting energy and needs to realize that we all are captains of our own ship. We really are. We're the creators of the reality that we see around us. So if you don't like what you see right now, then make sure to tap in here to know what is right for you, what you need right now. Okay? I love you. Thank you for being my friend. Bye-bye.